had my PSA checked before the procedure. My PSA was 27. What the PET scan actually showed was that my cancer had left my prostate. And he was like, Byron, I just hate to tell you this, but there's no cure. God told me, hey, I want you to put these 3 ingredients together and I want you to make a tea.
Welcome to Fayetteville On Demand. Under It's Possible podcasts, we find amazing people in Fayetteville who come and tell their stories and how they support the community. Today I have with me Byron. Byron, please take a minute, introduce yourself, and tell the community of Fayetteville what you have for them.
Absolutely. So my name is Byron Williams. I am the owner and founder of AA Apparel, or doing business as Lighthouse Promotions. That is the name by which we're known in Fayetteville. We've been in Fayetteville since 2004. We started from my home, actually. We moved to a location in the Lease Center down on 314.
You are here in Fayetteville.
Yes.
You have a business in Fayetteville. What's the name of the business again?
It's AA Apparel
Okay, AA
and
Apparel.
Embroidery, doing
Okay.
business as Lighthouse Promotions.
Lighthouse, okay.
Yes.
But what do you do in your business?
So we are a full-service apparel decorating company. So
Okay.
we embroider, we screen print, we do all types of digital imprinting, and we offer a full range or full line of promotional products. So
Okay.
anything basically that a business can use to advertise or put their name on. The gamut is pretty vast and expansive.
Okay, so do you specialize yourself in promoting other businesses, or whoever wants to have a shirt or whatever they want to print something on, they can come to you?
So we do quite a bit of B2B. So we work with a lot of businesses who want to promote themselves. Or if they're doing special events, we'll do, the shirts for, say, the Dragon Boat race, or maybe they have a group of salespeople that are going out. We'll provide the apparel for the salespeople. We do a lot of work with the schools in the area as well.
Okay.
So not only Fayette County schools, but also we're an authorized vendor with the Clayton County school system. So we do a lot of business with the administration of the schools, also with the auxiliary organizations like football, band. Band is very big in the area.
That's powerful. So why did you choose to come and do business in Fayetteville?
Very good question. So it kind of flowed. I initially went to church here in Fayetteville, and it was just a natural progression. Because I went to church here, I ended up moving here for my kids to go to the good school system in Fayetteville. They moved here when they were very young, and because this is the second of this type of business that I've had. So when I started this business, started from my home, Fayetteville, and then we found a location in Fayetteville where we moved to initially. The economy went down. We moved back home, and then we moved to our current location right here at 349 Glen Street North here in beautiful Fayetteville, Georgia.
Wow, okay. So you have a business in Fayetteville. Do you have employees in your business?
We do. We currently have 5 employees.
That's good. That's good. So these are the things I check on the show to make sure that the business is serving the community. If you have employees in your business, and if the service you provide the community really benefit from that service. So why would you say that the community of Fayetteville benefits from the service you provide in your business?
Well, I'm a big supporter of community organizations. We are we consistently support local groups. For instance, one of our biggest organizations we do sponsorships for is the Fayette County Band, Fayette County football team. We've also supported several, Little League, football, various organizations. It's kind of a give-take situation. So I would give precedence to people who are current, or former customers. It's kind of like an exchange of dollars. It's not like in some communities where, you have these businesses in the community that are just taking from the community, but never give back into the community.
Okay. So yes. All right. So you support the community.
absolutely.
That's good. That's good. Have you always been in Fayetteville? You say you moved to Fayetteville, right?
Yes, moved to Fayetteville in 2002. Formerly lived in Cobb County, also lived in DeKalb County for a number of years.
Okay. So you talked about the school system.
Yes.
What about the school system in Fayetteville?
Oh, Fayette County is known for its school system, has an excellent school system. 5 high schools, which are all, the test scores for most of them are, tops in the state. My children are great examples. My son went straight through Fayette County High School, got a scholarship to go to Vanderbilt. My daughter went to, then he went to Michigan State. My daughter went to Fayette County High School as well. They were both band students, and they were both pretty academically well-rounded. But my daughter got accepted to Spelman, went to Spelman College, graduated, and now she's a med school student, second-year student at Emory University. So the school system gave them a great foundation. It's kind of like getting almost like a private school education at a public school.
That's powerful. Do your employees, do they live in the county or in the city of Fayetteville?
Actually, of all of our employees, I'm the only one that lives in Fayetteville proper. Most of them live close by. So, I have one that lives in Tyrone, one lives College Park, the other lives in Union City, and the other one is, the other two. So one is actually moving to Hampton in next month.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, so they're close by, but it's expensive to live in Fayetteville, and I'm not, let's be real about it. I mean, you need to have a certain level of income really to even just afford to buy a house here, in Fayetteville.
Yeah, that's true.
Or live in a nice apartment.
That's true. Talk to me about you. Why did you get into business?
That's really a long story, but the short of the long story is I fell in love with this industry when I was in college. Okay. I got a wonderful opportunity to be a founder of a company called Collegiate Sportswear, and Collegiate Sportswear started on shoestrings really and boots. We bootstrapped our business initially, but through a series of events, we were able to obtain a retail store in the AU Center. And as you may or may not know, the AU Center is one of the largest consortium of black colleges in the United States. Well, it is the largest consortium. At the time, it was seven universities.
Yeah.
Today, it's Spelman, Morehouse, Clark Atlanta University, Morehouse School of Medicine, Morris Brown, and ITC, which is the Interdenominational Theological Center. But so I said all that to say we had a retail store there which served the collegiate market as well as the Divine Nine, Greek organizations. Okay. But we expanded on that. So we opened that store in 1990, right across the street from Morehouse School of Medicine on Lee Street. And later that same year, we opened a store in Tallahassee, Florida, near Florida A&M. And then I think even the next year, we opened a store in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, near Southern University. So my job was basically to make sure that the merchandise got produced. So I worked out of our warehouse, which was off of Fulton Industrial. And we had employees there and a full staff, but my job was to make sure that the merchandise got produced. I was over production. And we supplied our own stores. So in fact, we cut out the middleman. But that was my introduction, and did it very well. I ended up leaving school after a little over 2 years, 2.5 years at Morehouse, to really pursue the business full time. Now, I subsequently did go back and finish my degree, and at that time, I had to make another career change, so I ended up selling my interest in the business, and I went to work in the IT field. Oh wow! For a number of years. Yeah.
Which one do you like the most, IT or the business you have right now?
Oh, being in business, hands down. I mean, it's nothing like being able to, have the flexibility in your time and schedule.
Yeah.
When you're working for somebody else, of course, you have to come to work when they say come, go to lunch when they say go to lunch, and, go home when they say go home. You got to ask, if you can take vacation or, and, you're beholden to someone else when you're not the boss. That's all.
That's true.
Yeah.
But being the boss brings its own sets of challenges.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you got to be the last one to leave and the first one to get to the office.
That's right.
So, yes, it takes a certain type of people to become a business owner, I
Absolutely.
believe. How did you get where you are right now?
Sure. I was born in Jacksonville, Florida. Had a large family, lots of cousins. I ended up coming to Morehouse. Morehouse was one of several schools that I had applied to.
Okay.
And there was a gentleman by the name of Ed Swain who led a student organization out of Morehouse called the Jacksonville Morehouse Student Association, and they sponsored a tour, which allowed me and about maybe 30 other high schoolers to come to Atlanta for a weekend to get a firsthand look at schools like Morehouse. We visited Spelman, but Morehouse was the primary school that we were looking at. And I got a chance to meet with the director of admissions. I had applied to Morehouse, but I hadn't got a decision on my application. He pulled my application and he looked at it and he was like, "Wow, you've got really good grades. I want to offer you a scholarship."
Oh, wow.
So I left that weekend with a scholarship to go to Morehouse College.
Wow.
So that was the deciding factor. Had I not been on that tour, I would not have got a chance to meet directly with the director of admissions, and the course of my life might have been different because, for me, I didn't come from wealth. I came from a modest family. We worked hard, but at the time, I knew that my parents couldn't afford to really send me to a school, school out of state. I wanted to go to a nice school. I wanted to be an engineer.
Yeah.
So my second choice is, if I did not get a scholarship, I was going to go into one of the military ROTC programs where you would go to school for 4 years and then you'd have to serve. So that was my backup plan. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you were telling me about another, not a business venture, but some type of medicines or something like that you wanted to undertake. What about that? So talk to me a little about
Sure.
that.
So if you look at me, I probably appear to be healthy. I'm 56 years old. I'm relatively healthy. I do work out. However, about 4 years ago, in June of 2020, I was diagnosed with early stage prostate cancer. And my life was changed. Anytime you get a diagnosis that includes that C word, it does something to you. Well, I'm going to speak for me. It did something to me mentally because I had been healthy all my life. And so it kind of took me back. But the good news is, I had a praying mother, praying family, friends, close friends who encouraged me. We caught it very early. We knew at that time that, it wasn't unto death. It was. We caught it early enough where we knew it was going to be treatable.
That's good.
Yeah. So fast forward a little bit, my numbers were very low. I would get my PSA tested every 3 months. And when I got my diagnosis, I immediately changed my eating habits. I changed my lifestyle. So I got away from the processed foods like processed meats. I stopped eating pork and beef and chicken. I pretty much went pescatarian and plant-based. And after 90 days of doing that, my PSA actually fell back into a normal level.
Oh, wow.
After 90 days. I also added something called moringa to my diet. Moringa is a well-known plant, but it's not well known to us here in America. Other cultures know a lot about moringa and all the potent benefits of moringa. So I introduced that in my diet, and I think that was one of the major factors that helped. I was also doing other supplements, vitamin D, zinc. This was during the COVID pandemic.
Wow.
So 2020, we were right in the middle of it.
So a healthy man, you go to the hospital. How did you go to even check or have your PSA?
So I was getting my annual checkup with my doctor, and she'd asked, it's a black female, she asked me if I wanted to have my blood tested for my PSA done for specifically for the prostate. So I said, yeah, sure. If it's not going to cost me any extra, why not? So she took the test, and the results came back in a day or so, and the result came back at 4.5. Now, if it's over 4, it's considered, I don't want to say suspect, but they want to look at it further if it's over 4. So she sent me to a urologist. The urologist, we had a discussion. He tested me again. It was a 4.6.
Wow.
So he said, well, it doesn't really, it's that alone, we can't really say that there's cancer or not. He said, well, let's do a biopsy. So the biopsy was performed. They take 12 samples from the prostate. It's kind of a painful procedure, but they take 12 samples from the prostate. 5 of my samples came back with a small amount of cancer, okay? Very, very small. The highest of the samples was only 10% of that sample. Others were like 7, 5, 3, 2. So I was considered low risk. So low, I did not have to do anything for 2.5 years. So at the 2.5-year mark, I had a second biopsy. And what it showed was that I had a small amount of growth in one of the other quadrants, but still I was low risk. So the doctor said, well, hey, if you want to right now, you can go ahead and have a procedure if you like. So they brought in a team of doctors, different types of oncologists, and they talked to me about the different things that I could do. So I had about 9 different options, everything from the radioactive seeds to cryotherapy to external beam radiation, proton radiation. I could have had my prostate removed. I chose a procedure called brachytherapy with high dosage radiation, where the prostate's not removed. What they do is they map your prostate and they target, or they go to specific areas with these really tiny straws. And once they're in the location, they're able to administer a liquid form of radiation directly into the prostate.
Wow.
So you do this procedure as outpatient. You do it 2 weeks, 2 times, just 2 weeks apart. So did that and was seeing very, very good results. My numbers started to immediately go down. So my PSA had never gotten above a 5.9, and we saw the PSA trending down after the procedure. So fast forward a little bit, 14 months after the procedure. So that procedure was in September of 2022. Well, 14 months after that, I, as a cancer patient, I was still getting my PSA done every 3 months just to monitor. Well, I got an abnormally high PSA. The PSA was 9.
Wow.
And again, my PSA had never been above 5.9.
Yeah. Wow.
They said, well, your PSA can bounce. Let's, take it easy for 2 weeks, no physical exercise, and we'll check you again. So they checked me again in 2 weeks, and my PSA was 12. So the doctor said, okay, we need to take a closer look. So they set me up for a PET scan. And I had to go through my insurance companies, get authorizations, schedule the procedure. So by the time I scheduled it, it's 30 days later. Had my PSA checked before the procedure. My PSA was 27.
Oof.
27. So what the PET scan actually showed was that my cancer had left my prostate. And it had metastasized into 2 very small spots, but they're in my ribs on this side and the back. And the spots were actually in the bone. And the doctor, when we, were having our discussion after the procedure, he started apologizing to me. This was my oncologist that did my high dosage radiation procedure, my brachytherapy. And I'm like, doctor, why are you apologizing? And he was like, Byron, I just hate to tell you this, but there's no cure for metastasized prostate cancer in the bone. Once it's in your bone, there's really no effective way to, there's no cure for this.
Wow.
We can try to treat it, but there's no cure. There's no guarantees. It's just spread throughout your body, and you might live 6 months, you might live 2 years, you might live longer. He didn't really put a time on it,
Yeah.
but he was saying there's no cure for this. So he said, I'm going to have to refer you to our physical oncologist. I can't do anything else for you. So he referred me to the physical oncologist, and the physical oncologist said, hey, we're going to try something called hormone therapy. Now, what hormone therapy does is the particular hormone that I took, which is called Lupron, it actually removes the testosterone from the body. Okay. They also give it to women who are going through breast cancer. If they're on a hormone therapy, it removes the estrogen from their body. Long story short, what they know is that the testosterone is one of the things that can cause growth in those types of cancer cells. Okay, high testosterone level is can promote the growth of prostate cancer cells. So long story short, we started on the Lupron, and they give you a list of about 10, 10 side effects of this medication, guys.
Wow.
Hot flashes, erectile dysfunction, weight gain, brittle bones. It can affect your liver, it can affect your heart, and a number of things.
But it gets you more sick than how you...
Possibly.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was like, well, we recommend that you do the 3 months dosage, and, we'll continue to monitor you, see how you go. So we started on that, and man, I tell you, I was having the hot flashes like bad.
Wow.
When when ladies are going through the change of life, and they constantly have a fan with them, and you have hot flashes at night, you have them in the daytime. It's just out of nowhere.
Wow.
You have these hot flashes. So I was actually one night I was just praying. This was probably maybe 2 or 3 weeks after I started on the medication, and I just got a supernatural download. God told me, hey, I want you to put these 3 ingredients together, and I want you to make a tea. And the 3 ingredients were burdock root powder, soursop leaves, and moringa seeds, crushed moringa seeds.
Now, before you go further, you say you had a conversation with God.
A supernatural download. Yes, sir.
How does that happen? Because I have heard that really often people say, man, God told me this, or God told me that. Do you hear a certain voice, or how does that happen?
It's spirit to spirit. So it was not an audible voice, It was just, it's like when you're petitioning God, and you just, you may be asking God for something, and then you allow him, you give him a moment to speak back to you.
Wow.
So
you say, okay, 3 things you had to get. Let me look it up to see.
Yeah.
What are the 3 things?
So moringa seeds.
Moringa. Okay, I heard of moringa.
Yeah. Moringa
What's
seeds,
the other one?
burdock root powder. Burdock root
what is
powder.
that?
Burdock root powder is known to it's a blood cleanser.
Okay.
So it helps with cleansing of the blood. It helps with liver functioning, and your soursop leaves. That's also a known cancer fighter.
So I heard of that.
For lots of different types of cancer. And then you have the moringa seeds. Moringa is just good for a number of things: your skin, your hair.
Yeah.
Your
But
cholesterol, blood pressure.
did you know about these things before, or that's the first time you got introduced to them in that conversation with God?
Yes. So the unique thing was the combination of them.
Okay.
I knew about those independently. I had never used burdock root powder.
Okay.
I was strong in the moringa seeds, and the soursop. I'd never done the leaves. I'd had what did I have? I had soursop bitters, and I would occasionally take that. But I think for this particular event, I was able to put them together and kind of make a powerful formula.
Okay.
So let me tell you the result of it.
Yeah.
I didn't go against the doctor and say, well, hey, I'm not going to take this medication anymore. I didn't do that. I said, well, I'm going to continue to take their medication. They tell me the best that they can tell me, but I'm going to take this tea. I call it God's tea. So every night when I would take my daily pill, I would take about 6 ounces of the tea. And almost immediately, I say within a week, my hot flashes, that was the first thing I noticed, my hot flashes subsided.
Wow.
So I went from maybe 8 or 9 hot flashes a day to maybe 1 every other day. And it was mild. I mean, mild compared to what it had been. Because initially, man, I was sweating. I was asking my employees to say, are y'all hot in here or is it just me? And they would say, it's just you, you know. Oh, another one of the side effects of the medication, man, was mood swings. It can make you moody. It can make you very emotional.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I had emotional moments, you know, but I kind of prepped my family. I prepped my employees. I said, listen, I'm starting on this medication. This is what the side effects are.
So no, let me get to understand that. So you can't feel like you're angry and you don't know why.
Possibly, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So they needed to understand why sometimes I might be a little more moody or maybe a little bit emotional about something, you know. It wasn't emotional to the point of like you crying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, you might get in your feelings about maybe something that somebody did or.
But what I'm trying to understand is, okay, you know that you wouldn't feel that way if it was not because of the medication, right? Do you feel that you can take control, or it's like, man, there's nothing I can do. It's just how I feel.
I would say it was just how I felt. You know, you might consciously think, okay, wow, I'm feeling this way because of this medication. But it really didn't take away the feeling. It may help you to, you know, maybe try to control it or say, hey, I need to take a break or, you know, step back from the situation.
Wow.
So the second part of the story is, man, so the first notable change I noticed was the hot flashes went away. I never gained weight. You know, my bones never became brittle. But I started seeing some really good positive results. So after 3 months of being on God's tea, and I still was doing the Lupron. Well, I did the Lupron. The Lupron dosage is 3 months. It's a slow release. Shoot you in the arm. You don't come back for 3 months. But after 3 months, I had a notable change in my PSA. So remember I told you my PSA had gotten as high as 27.
27.
After 3 months of being on the tea and the Lupron treatment, my PSA fell to 0.12.
Wow. So now let's try to understand that, because you say as you started to take the medication, you started to feel the side effects of it. Initially. So that means, well, what I'm trying to see is, how do you know the cure came from the tea or from the medication they were given to you?
That's a very good question. I know some people who are taking the same medication.
Okay.
And they're not seeing the same results. Very similar case. And the fact that, and I think it had really astonished the doctor, the fact that it fell so, 3 months in the whole scope of a medical plan is a short period of time.
Wow.
But it fell 0.12. 6 months, after 6 months, it was 0.05.
Wow.
And I'm talking to the doctor like, okay, doc, how much, how closer can we go without being, it's 0.05.
Yeah.
It's less than half of what it was before.
Wow.
I thought 0.12 was good, So after 9 months, my PSA reading was 0.1. They redid the PET scan. The PET scan showed no evidence of cancer in my body.
Hallelujah.
No evidence. No evidence.
That's powerful.
So that's very powerful. So I give glory to God,
Wow.
Whether he used their medication along with the tea, I don't care how he did it. But I went from a diagnosis of a doctor telling me you have something that's not curable to being cancer-free.
Wow.
And,
so say the tea again. How did you how did you make the tea? In the morning, in the afternoon? Talk to me about
Well,
that.
I took it in the evening, so I would make it in small batches.
Okay.
And but it's those 3 ingredients. It's a special formulation that I do.
You
because
say soursop, the leaf
soursop leaves.
Okay, soursop leaves.
Yeah.
And
Moringa seeds.
moringa seeds.
But you gotta crush the seed. You crush the seed. You put the whole and everything in the tea.
Okay. And what was there's a powder?
Burdock root powder.
Burdock
root powder.
Burdock root
Yes.
powder.
Burdock root. BURDOCK root powder.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to be working on my, putting the formulation together, and so that I can have it available for sale.
You should have done that a long time ago.
Because I have a lot. You're one of several people that I've told this testimony. I've been on another podcast. I actually spoke to a men's. Wasn't a retreat, but it was a men's weekend where they were talking about health issues.
Yeah.
So I came and shared my story about my journey with prostate cancer.
So why would you tell a healthy man who has not checked in his PSA for a long time?
Yeah, so I would say get it checked.
Okay.
It's not okay. So traditionally, when a doctor would check your prostate, I'm just going to be a little bit graphic here.
Okay.
They would have to basically take they would put their finger in your rectum, okay, to feel the shape of your prostate. That procedure alone made a lot of men feel emasculated and less than a man. That was the reason why a lot of men did not want to go to the doctor, because they were fearful of having that exam, and it was not pleasant. I had it done a couple of times before actually having my PSA. So this doctor exposed me to the fact that I could have my prostate-specific antigen, or PSA, taken by just using a blood test.
Blood test,
So the finger test is really a kind of an old school, and it's really an archaic method. It only tells a doctor, how smooth or rough your prostate is. They can't really tell how large it is, or et cetera. And the reason why they do it through the rectum is because the prostate is very close to that area.
To get to a point where the doctor says, I don't know what I can do for you.
Right.
To saying that you're free.
Yeah.
Cancer free. This is good.
That's excellent. Yes, it is. And furthermore, I would tell the men, find out, ask your dad, your granddad, if they're still alive, have they had any prostate problems? I didn't know until I got my diagnosis, and I started asking questions. And I found out that my dad had an issue with his prostate. It's actually common, not prostate cancer, but issues with the prostate are more common as you get older. Okay. Because what happens is the prostate can become enlarged. And the urethra, which connects your bladder and it goes through your penis, that's where your urine comes out of. The tube is called the urethra. Well, it goes right through the prostate. It's like a walnut, and the urethra is right around it. So as your prostate becomes enlarged, it squeezes on the urethra, and it causes people to, or men to have, problems sometimes with urination. Yeah. Maybe not feeling like they've emptied all the way, or maybe the stream is not as strong as it once was. So those are just some symptoms, or maybe having the urgency to go to the bathroom a little more urgently. I do know for me, I did experience a period where when I had to go, I had to go. You know what I mean? And it wasn't you can't hold it for like you used to be able to hold it. It just wasn't happening.
See, well, now, how was your diet before that?
I would say it was average. It wasn't anything special. I ate, fast food. I ate beef and chicken, and I liked bacon. A lot of things. That I like. It was the average American diet. But you know what? With the typical American diet, it's actually the thing that's making us sick. And unfortunately, doctors are not necessarily, a lot of them, I can't say all. I shouldn't generalize like that. But, traditional American medicine is not designed to cure people. It's designed to treat the symptoms. And doctors make money when they are treating you for various ailments. So I can tell you this. I work with the doctors at Emory University in the Winship Cancer Center. I previously was with another hospital organization, a very well-known organization. I'm not going to say their name.
Yeah.
But I felt like my doctor did not have much interest in my case because I was not under any type of treatment. So he didn't take a lot of time to answer questions. He would ask me if I had any questions, but there was not a lot of additional information that he shared with me. Yeah.
Wow, the money part of it.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, that's really powerful. I hope all men should watch this because this is amazing. And one thing also, it's not for those who may be experiencing the same thing, is maybe there are some people in the hospital right now with the same diagnosis, and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So this is a message of hope.
It is.
You should be preaching that message everywhere.
I'm definitely an advocate, and I've got to give thanks to some gentlemen that actually helped me early on in my battle or my fight, but also some gentlemen who just encouraged me and a number of other gentlemen. I'm a part of the ushers department at my church.
Okay.
So every Sunday morning we gather together, and we would always be encouraged, hey guys, go get checked, get your prostate checked, if you find, you feel in a certain way, just get checked, man. We're so proud. We a lot of men are, I'm just tough. I'm just going to tough it out. Your toe about to fall off, but you don't want to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
It shouldn't get to that point. So if you're feeling like, hey, that there's something wrong in your body, it could be something small. A friend of mine who's a pastor was telling me about a small bump that he had on his neck. Well, turns out he went and got it checked, and the bump was cancerous.
Oh wow!
So he had treatment, and but he couldn't preach for several months. While he was undergoing the treatment, because it had the type of treatment that he had impacted his vocal cords. But it's just another example. I would just encourage any man. If that prostate cancer may run in your family, make sure you get checked early, get checked often, or any other condition. It might be, high blood pressure or sugar diabetes might run in your family. These things are commonly treatable. And if you don't want to do the traditional medicine way, there are a lot of holistic alternatives out there. You've got to explore them. You've got to do the research. You got to put in the work. I'm not saying this journey is easy, because it's not. You got to be committed to whatever you decide to do. You got to be committed to doing it, and you'll get results. You're going to get the results.
Good. That's good.
So I just want to encourage you, to make a decision, that your health is going to be something that you put in the forefront of your priorities, because I've learned, that your health is your wealth. If you don't have your health, it doesn't matter how much money you have.
Yeah.
You look at people like, was Steve Jobs? I think, was it Steve Jobs that passed away?
Yeah.
Very wealthy man. But, he couldn't buy health.
That's true.
So it's just a lesson.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, we went all the way. Let's go back to to the business.
Okay.
All right. So, what you just shared with us right now is really powerful. And I think this is something that can help a lot of people. Oh, you said your address already, right? Where people can find you.
I'll repeat it. 349 Glen Street North.
Okay.
Fayetteville, Georgia.
Fayetteville, Georgia.
Yes, sir.
That's good. Are you hiring?
We are not currently hiring.
Not currently. Okay.
Yeah. But what I do each year, I typically have some interns that come in
Okay.
from one of the local schools, usually a high school student, who comes to, we teach them about the industry and the trade and allow them to, grow and build some skills.
Okay.
And then they go back to school or go back to college. And I've done that for several years.
That's good. So what are the things that you need to start a shirt or T-shirt business?
Well, it kind of depends on how how involved or how in depth you want to be.
Okay.
On a small scale, you could actually start a business and not have any equipment of your own. You could actually just contract out all the work. In other words, you take the orders, you might do some artwork or what have you, or you can even contract that out and get someone else to actually produce the merchandise, and then you give it back to your customer. That's actually how I started initially. But what happened was the demand got too big for the collegiate stuff that we were selling.
That's a good problem.
Yeah, and we had to get our own equipment. Now, when I say we, I was a co-founder of the company, Collegiate Sportswear. The other founder was a gentleman by the name of Ed Swain. Ed actually passed back in March of this year. And but he taught me a lot.
Okay.
And, he introduced me to the business, and we built a great business together.
Well, Byron, thank you so much for coming on the show, because what you have shared with us today, it will totally make a difference, because I know it will serve a lot of people. And if you want to start a T-shirt business, you say you can start from home, right?
You can.
Yeah, and you can outsource the production.
You can come right to Lighthouse Promotions. We do quite a bit of contract work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where we have customers that come in. They'll buy their shirts, or we can buy them, and we decorate them for you, and you can service your customers. So, yeah, I would say 50% of our business is contract work.
That's good. So, if someone wants to start a T-shirt business, they can come to your business and you do the work.
Yeah, I do consultations too.
Oh,
because I've got over 35 years of experience in the industry. So
that's good.
It's not too much that I don't, about this industry that I don't know.
Yeah.
Digital, I'll say this. So digital technology has definitely changed our business for sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Tap in with Byron, because he has a lot he can teach you. And if you want to start a T-shirt business also, so this is the person you got to talk to. All right. Well, Byron, if you have a last word to say to the population of Fayetteville, Georgia, what would it be?
I would say that, I believe that service is important. And doing whatever you do, whether it's selling insurance or washing cars, that you should do with excellence. It doesn't have to always be perfect, but to have a spirit of excellence about what you do is very, very important. I do also need to mention that if you'd like to reach us online, our web address is lighthouse-promo.com. Our telephone number, if it's okay to get that, is 770-461-9345. That's 770-461-9345. We're actually open Monday through Thursday, and that's from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And we would love to meet you. I would love to be able to consult with you, to help you in whatever, issues that you may have. I'm a great resource as well. So if there's a service that we don't actually provide, I'll be the first one to help you to find those other services. I've just become very resourceful because we do a lot of business to business. So I have a full gamut of customers, everything from lawyers to chiropractors to physical therapists to, any type of business, you name it. So we can help you, get whatever you need. Get
Excellent.
It done. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, everybody, for watching the video today. We had with us today Byron. And this is It's Possible Podcast with Fayetteville On Demand. Thank you and have a great day.